All right, welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tim Kramer with Brandman Brandon over here, Brian the Grizzly over there, and we're going to review the new Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Came out last weekend. We all got a chance to see it. Didn't get a chance to talk about it yet,
I
so
saw it twice.
saw it twice.
Same.
nice, dang. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna give you guys our rating at the end, whether we give it a now, later, never. We're gonna get to our dislikes, our likes, and some of our other thoughts. But before we jump into that, Brian, you got a breakdown of what this movie is about?
Yeah. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite to battle Shadow, a mysterious new enemy with powers unlike anything they faced before. With the abilities outmatched in every way, they seek out an unlikely alliance to stop Shadow and protect the planet.
Yep. And then a quick rundown of the cast. Pretty much everyone's came back for it. From James Marsden, Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz is in it. We even got Idris Elba coming back for Knuckles. Plus, then we get the great Keanu Reeves as Shadow, the Hedgehog. And then also Jim Carrey. Again, we get double Jim Carrey in this one. So, that's pretty. Kristen Ritter is in it. She's definitely going to come up. I already know that in a few of our discussions. So with all that down, Brandman, we'll have you start off. What are some things you liked about Sonic 3?
I liked that it jumped right in. It really doesn't waste any time. That was one of my favorite things about it. Really like the voice acting between, the great Ben Schwartz, who has really just made the role of Sonic his own. Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who I think voiced Tails in the video games, if I'm not mistaken, or in at least some of them. And I love how Idris Elba plays Knuckles, because Idris Elba definitely understands the assignment, and he also plays it like total serious as Knuckles, which I think is great. I liked Jim Carrey just really still has it after like 30 plus years. He's just as animated and cartoonish as he's been since like the late 80s, early 90s. So him as Robotnik was just still fun to watch. And I gotta give Keanu Reeves his flowers. I gotta give him his flowers. He was great as Shadow. Really liked him. I thought his voice and kind of his vocal delivery really suited Shadow. I thought he absolutely crushed it. I even liked a lot of like some of the Easter eggs they've had in terms of other games. That really worked for me. And it even kind of had like an emotional core to it, just in terms of the contrast between especially Sonic's surrogate family and Shadow's family that he had in the form of Maria. So I thought that really worked. Just really amazed the trajectory this franchise has been on, and I've said it before, it all stems from a character redesign, which I think is cool.
So the first 25 minutes of the movie, I actually kind of fell asleep. Not that I fell asleep, that I just, you have that doze where you just a little bit, and you don't not sure exactly what's going on, but I knew enough was going on because I knew exactly where they're going towards, and it happened twice. So it happened the first time. I was like, that must be whatever. I watched it the second time. The same thing happened, and I was like, okay, maybe it's because I know too much about the game and know kind of what's going to happen that none of that shocked me. But then by the time we got past the first 25 minutes, I was in. I think it was done well. Some of the goofiness is what I was looking for. Because I'm a kind of guy that doesn't like too much goofiness, right? I was there for Jim Carrey, man. I was there for all of it. I was there for what's his name? James Marsden. I all of it. I was in for all of it. Idris Elba. I loved watching. Well, I was watching once it got into the heart of the story. Once they, Team Sonic was needed. That was all great. Once we got to the part where they needed it. So I guess about an hour, 20 minutes, I loved. The first 25 minutes, it was a little bit, whatever. But yeah, I mean, great cast, great acting. They actually love what they're doing. You can see they enjoy what, the story. So it's not like they have to make up that their joy. It's apparent within just watching it, and they just know they know what they're doing. Once they redesigned the character, they knew what they're doing, and they've run with it, and I love it. So
yeah. Once they redesigned the character, like it was just like, okay, we're just gonna give the fans exactly what they want, and hey, once you know it works. You make
use the video game character.
Yeah, exactly. But Ben Schwartz, from day one is great as Sonic, and Idris Elba coming in. So it's like once we got teased with Shadow in the last movie, there was a bunch of names, were popping. Anakin Skywalker, who I can't think of his name.
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen was the big person that a lot of people, and I was down for that. But I gotta say, like Keanu as Shadow. Because I mean, Keanu Reeves only has one level. It's just Keanu Reeves. You know what I mean? It's either John Wick Keanu or he like bumped it up to like Bill and Ted Keanu. But it's there's a range and it's very very narrow.
Or is it Speed Keanu?
That was in between. It was in between. But it's a little higher than John Wick, so he wasn't so I'm gonna kill you. But it's a little less of the surfer boy kind of thing. Like I said, very narrow, man. He's right in between there. This was definitely more of his John Wicky kind of.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is awesome for the character.
I think he's very comfy in that role and persona at this point.
And dark and brooding.
Yeah, like I think I've said in the past, even with the newest Bill and Ted from like 4 years ago, it didn't really feel like Keanu Reeves playing Ted Theodore Logan. It felt like John Wick playing Ted.
Yeah.
In terms of like the delivery. So he's very comfy in that persona, but it worked for Shadow, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It 100% works for Shadow, So yeah, that was good. It looked good. I gotta admit, all the graphics were pretty spot on. Nothing looked out of place. Everything fit well. I think having less of the humans, was the better way to go. I like James Marsden, but I think he was the issue in maybe the last one, really. Just too much humans in a Sonic movie is never good. The most human you want to get is Eggman, and then we get double Jim Carrey, so somebody said we get two parts. He does play Eggman, which is from the first two movies, and then he's also playing Robotnik, which is his grandfather. And they look exactly the same, and it's so good. It is over the top. So if you don't like over the top kind of silliness, then it might not be for you. But I mean, it's so over the top that they make fun of them being the same actor. Like legit make fun of it in the movie. And the best Jim Carrey is always when you let Jim Carrey do full Jim Carrey. You just let him like here you go. You're off the leash. Have at it. And who would have known Jim Carrey plays best off of Jim Carrey? So it's what he does. Me, myself, Irene, he did it there too. Whenever you have him play opposite of himself, like it sounds stupid, but it's usually the best for him, because he has so many personalities and he's so animated that he can do that. So, but yeah, Shadow and Jim Carrey were probably my two favorite parts of this film. Because one was very dark and one was very goofy, and it fitting in the same movie was perfect. It really was like a lot of fun. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it from my likes. There's more, but that was my main ones. All right, dislikes. What issues did you have with it, Brandman?
Really, I only have one kind of glaring, and this is kind of in terms of like my expectations versus what happened. They were kind of bigging up and touting Kristen Ritter like she was going to be like this major part in the movie, and it more or less just felt like a glorified cameo, I thought.
Yeah.
She probably only had about 5 minutes of screen time, and that's putting it generously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought she was going to do more. I thought she was going to be a little more principled the way that they were hyping her. Really, that's my only like glaring issue with the movie.
Mm,
I the movie kind of, it's not like a perfect movie by any means, but it knew what it was, and I thought it worked in that regard.
Yeah.
Overall, but yeah, you know, they just did nothing with Kristen Ritter, just despite kind of talking like they were.
Yeah. Yeah. She was only in it for what, maybe 10, 15-ish minutes.
Even that, to
Yeah.
me, it felt like 5,
Yeah.
3, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Felt
I mean,
like
it was
she was
only
in that
legit
movie
like
for
3
3 minutes.
scenes, right? 3 or 4
Yeah.
scenes. So,
4 scenes, yeah.
yeah. So damn. Okay. Anything else?
That's really the only big one that springs to mind. More will
Anyone?
come to me later, but that was like my
Yeah.
big glaring one.
Yeah. Okay. What are you, Brian?
I had a few things. So there's a Maria Robotnik with Shadow. Maria, the girl.
Mhm.
I didn't really see how that worked with Eggman. I didn't understand how that was working. I also didn't really feel the connection with with Shadow, because I was like, it almost seemed like they were only together for like 2 weeks. Sonic has been with his family for like years, right? So the connection didn't really make sense to me. I was like, all right. Shadow's like, I remember that one day we let me out of my cage. What?
those 3 hours.
Yeah, like this is what we doing here?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of a little strange. The story was fine. Jim Carrey is over the top sometimes. The dance sequence is probably too much for me, but it's hilarious. But it's like at some point I was rolling my eyes, laughing but rolling my eyes. So but you kind of understand what's going for. But like, this is really nitpicking on a movie that was fun. I didn't expect it to be a unbelievable storyline that goes 3 hours or anything like that. I don't need to be Othello. I don't need it to be anything like that. I just wanted to enjoy it, and overall, it was fine. It seems like Tom and Maddie kind of took a backseat to a lot of the stuff. The same thing would be then for Rockwell, for Kristen Ritter, because all humans took a backseat to it that weren't named Jim Carrey. And that might work for the movie overall. So, I don't really have anything horrible for this movie, because I don't think it did a horrible job in any aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Jorge brought this up real quick that Maria was a big improvement compared to the video game. So, yeah, I don't remember too much of the video game. I remember Shadow, but it was a little bit past my Sonic, era of playing. But well, I just remember it being super dark. But
yeah,
but yeah, my biggest issue was that they sped through a lot of the character stuff and never really had time to like develop, almost like what Brian was saying. You didn't have time to develop like some of the deeper connections that some of these characters had. But yet also the movie kind of felt a little long at times. So it was like, how are like you're rushing through everything and it still feels long. So it was like, it was at
hour 49.
Hour 49. So, it's not a crazy long movie. I mean, so it just I wish we got a little bit more of Shadow and Maria, Maria and Robotnik, like
you only saw
nowhere
in one scene. Like, hey kids, let's go. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's stuff like that, like I wish we would have got more of this. Should have been more of a Shadow movie than a Sonic movie. And at the end, you kind of have them team up and blah blah blah. But it was you're trying to split the time evenly between a Shadow and Sonic, and it's not that it was bad. It's just like I wanted more, which is kind of the worst thing a movie can do at times is just like wanting more, from it. So, but yeah, that's my biggest issue because otherwise I had a lot of fun with it. Just kind of rushed through a few of the stories. Now later never now means you go watch this thing right now. Later means you wait until it's at home, check it out on streaming, and never means just skip it altogether. Brandman, what are you giving Sonic 3?
I'll give it a now. This was a pretty fun movie. It was a fun watch. Mike, I knew what it was going in. It understood what it was. I really enjoy this franchise. I'll watch as many of them as they make. I even like the Knuckles spinoff.
Mhm.
I like the energy and the vibe of these
Yeah.
movies, and I really enjoyed Keanu Reeves as Shadow. He's notoriously one of the coolest guys in Hollywood, and for him to do something like this just really even like ups my respect for him. And yeah, it's like the one video game movie franchise that's really working for me so far.
Yeah.
Uh, had some references to the previous games, Easter eggs that I really liked. Just a fun time all around. Heck, there's a reason I've seen it twice at this point.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I could give this a no.
Okay. What about you, Brian? Now later never.
If you are a video game friend, person that really enjoys video games, then definitely a now. If you're a regular person, maybe later. A person with kids, maybe now. But if you're by yourself, if you're not into video games, you're by yourself, it might be a later. It might be. Even though I will say this, when the time when they blew into the thumb drive and stuck it in, I died laughing. I died laughing. But
Yeah.
I can recognize some people are not going to be in love with this movie. But for me, I think it's a now. But I can recognize someone saying later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very over the top at times with Jim Carrey. But for me, I mean, that's why one of the reasons why I'm going to give it a now was how great Jim Carrey was in this. But also how good Shadow was. I thought, he did a really good job at being this bad guy, and then kind of becoming a good guy at the end, So, or
Is that what we
at least
compare about?
redeeming himself.
Is that what we always complain about? The bad guy becoming a good guy.
Well, no, it's always the bad guy becoming an anti-hero,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, like, I don't know if you ever seen the joke of Sonic is basically Dragon Ball Z,
It is.
and it really
Mm-hmm.
is, so I love Dragon Ball Z, and I love when the good guy is so good that he makes the villains good guys, and yeah, so Sonic is so adorable in this. Ben Schwartz knocks out of the park with Sonic each time, and this cast just keeps getting bigger and better, and 3 movies in, and we got Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Robotnik, and Eggman. Like that's wild. I did not think we would get to this point when I first saw that first image of Sonic. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed it a lot. It's very goofy. It's very goofy. That's our thoughts, our review for Sonic 3. Doing well in the box office domestically, so we'll see how that goes. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, bunch of nows and a little bit of a later, I guess. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, so we want to hear from you guys. If you want to go watch it, leave a comment down below. Let us know if you're giving this one a now, later, never, and what you like about or didn't like about Sonic 3. And make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, come and join us live when we do these reviews. We appreciate all you guys coming in, hanging out with us. And if you are in the live chat, stick around because we're going to get into your comments right now.